Hi, everyone. I have a question for you. This is for you to think about. Are you a good listener? Now, there's listening and there's listening, right? We all know that. We know what it's like to be the one listening and not really being present. And we also know what it's like to be on the receiving end of someone that's there physically, but you could tell they are not there for you. So there are actually stages. There are different levels, so to speak, of listening. And this is something that I learned from a friend of mine, Neely Cousins. She taught me and the group that I was with 5 levels of listening. Now, the lowest level, the 5th level, is being an interrupter. You're not listening at all. You're interrupting, you're sticking your few words in wherever you could get a word, and that's not listening. Taking it a step up is waiting. You're waiting for them to finish so that you could jump in. So you're not interrupting, right? But you're just holding off until that moment that you could put in your wisdom, that you could come in and fix the day. So that's the 4th level. The 3rd level is mirroring, and that's a great tool that therapists use, that we use in marriage communication. What I'm hearing you say is that how you're feeling? Like you mirror back what you are hearing. And then taking it one step further is sensing, when you could really hear even what's behind the words. It's not only what they're saying, but it's what they're not saying, their nonverbal cues and just their body language, all of that stuff. And you're really, really listening with all of your senses. And the highest level of listening is transforming. And that's really where the magic happens. That's when you could be there for another person and truly be there. And kind of make the person in front of you feel that they're worthy of whatever it is that they're going through. They're worthy of you standing by them and supporting them and believing in them. Okay, so those are the 5 levels of listening. Okay, now let's file that away. In this week's Torah portion, Parshas Ekev, we have the 2nd chapter of the Shema. Last week, we had the 1st chapter. And here we go again with the Shema. Now, this will be familiar to many of you because the Shema is the mission statement. So 2nd chapter, V'haya im shamoa tishmeu. Interesting way of saying that you shall listen. Shamoa tishmeu. It's a double lashon, a double way of saying the same thing. And usually when you see an extra word in the Torah, it means something. So over here in English, it will be that if you hearken to my commandments that I command you on this day, to love Hashem your God, to serve him with all your heart and your soul, and it goes on, okay? But that you should hearken, you shall listen. It says it twice in this interesting way. The commentaries have a heyday on this, right? What is that talking about? Why is it written double? And the sages expand on this verb that you shall hearken to what you already learned. By taking care to review and to understand what you already know, right? There is new learning, right? That's always great and fresh, the insights that we could take on anew. But there's also so much that we learn that we need to review. We need to do it again and again and again, like the Torah that we're coming to the end of, the last book. And then we're going to start all over again. But when we learn it again, we realize that we're different. So the learnings, the teachings that we're learning are now different. We're seeing it through different eyes because we have evolved. Nothing stays the same. We are changing and evolving every single day. And so is our mind. And so is our capacity to understand, to deeply, fully understand. Something interesting that I once heard, this is, I think it's Kabbalistic teaching, that when a child is in utero, angels teach the entire Torah from one end to the other end, the entire thing, to the baby in utero. And then right before the baby is born into this world, they're tapped upon the lip. That's maybe why we have this indentation. And the baby forgets everything. So why would you learn? Why would you teach? Why would you go through all that learning just to forget it? It's because it's never fully forgotten. And there is going to be a time in everyone's life that you learn something, all of the Torah, hopefully, and you say, that makes sense, or that seems familiar to me. There's something about this, it almost feels like it's part of you, because it is a part of you, right? Because the learning that we do is not just in a vacuum, right? It's before our time, it's before our body came into our soul, and it'll go on forever. The Torah is one, and it's forever, and it's eternal, just like our souls. So we're tied to it. So as we learn each week and find new levels, new layers of ourselves and of the wisdom of our heritage, we can know that this is how it's always been and how it's supposed to be. Shamoa tishma'u, that you should listen, you should hearken. Yes, physically, listen up, right? On those 5 levels, get to the highest level. But more than that, take it into your soul. This is deeply connected to who